Scott Bell thought he'd seen everything. Built a tech empire from nothing. Closed billion-dollar deals before turning 35. Survived market crashes that destroyed other men. But standing in his penthouse kitchen doorway, watching his 5-year-old son Liam actually chewing, actually swallowing, his hand started shaking. He covered his mouth. Tears blurred his vision. 14 days. His son hadn't eaten in 14 days. 6 months ago, Rebecca collapsed at the breakfast table. Brain aneurysm. One moment she was laughing, talking about taking Liam to the zoo. The next she was gone. And Liam watched it all happen. Watched his mother die right in front of him. Pancakes still on their plates. After that morning, something broke inside the boy. He stopped eating. Not slowly. Not gradually. He just stopped. Because in his 5-year-old mind, breakfast had killed his mother. And if he ate breakfast, it would kill him too. Scott hired everyone. The best child psychiatrists in Chicago. Specialists from Boston. Nutritionists who'd written books. They all said the same thing. Physically, there's nothing wrong. Psychologically, the boy was trapped in trauma. Nothing worked. Liam just kept fading, getting thinner, darker circles under his eyes. His small body shutting down day by day. Scott was a billionaire. He could afford anything by anyone. But he couldn't save his son. Then Nicole arrived. She came on a Tuesday morning, the 6th maid in 3 months. Young woman with kind eyes and a single bag containing everything she owned. When Mrs. Chen explained what was happening, the dying boy upstairs, the father drowning in guilt, Nicole didn't look surprised. She looked like she understood. Because when Nicole was 7, her stepfather poisoned their family dog right in front of her. Put something in its food and made her watch. And for years after, Nicole couldn't eat without thinking the food would kill her. She knew what terror tasted like. That first afternoon, Nicole did something none of the expensive specialists had thought to do. She went to Liam's room, sat on the floor 6 feet away, and picked up his lunch tray. She didn't push it toward him. She didn't beg. She just started eating his food herself. Sandwich. Apple slices. Juice. Making eye contact while she chewed and swallowed. "See," she said softly. "I'm eating your food. And I'm okay. It's not poison, Liam. Food is safe." The boy's eyelashes flickered. 3 days later, Nicole made pancakes. The exact breakfast from the morning his mother died. She brought a griddle to his room, mixed the batter, let the smell fill the space. Liam started hyperventilating, panicking. But Nicole stayed calm. She ate an entire pancake in front of him. Maintained eye contact the whole time. "The food didn't kill your mama, sweetheart." Something inside her head got sick. Something nobody could see or stop. But it wasn't the breakfast. Liam stared at the remaining pancakes. His hand lifted, trembling. Reached toward the plate. Scott was downstairs when Mrs. Chen burst into his office. Tears streaming. "He's eating. Mr. Bell, your son is eating." Scott didn't believe it. Couldn't. He ran up the stairs and stopped in the doorway. There was Liam, his skeletal little boy, holding a piece of pancake. Chewing slowly. Tears rolling down his hollow cheeks. And beside him sat a woman he barely knew. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button right now. This story is going to change how you see healing. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. Because if you've ever felt powerless, if you've ever watched someone you love slip away while the experts failed, you need to hear what happens next. Nicole's first morning in the Bell penthouse started before dawn. She rode the L train from her neighborhood on the west side, watching the city light up through scratched windows. By the time she reached the high-rise overlooking Lake Michigan, the sun was bleeding orange across the water. Mrs. Chen, the gray-haired housekeeper, met her at the service elevator. The penthouse stretched out like something from a magazine, floor-to-ceiling windows, marble everywhere, furniture that probably cost more than Nicole made in a year. Through the glass, Lake Michigan looked cold and endless. Mrs. Chen didn't waste time with small talk. Just handed Nicole an apron and nodded toward the kitchen. "Breakfast tray first," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "For the boy." The kitchen was massive. Professional-grade everything. Nicole washed her hands at a sink bigger than her bathtub back home and started preparing the tray. Scrambled eggs. Toast cut into triangles. Fresh orange juice. Strawberries arranged just so. Her knife made soft sounds against the cutting board. Everything else was silent. No TV. No music. No laughter or voices. Just this heavy, suffocating quiet. The kind of silence that lives in a house where someone's dying. Mrs. Chen watched her work with tired eyes. "You're the sixth one in 3 months," she said finally. The others couldn't handle it. Watching a child fade away like that, it breaks you. Nicole set down the knife. "How long has it been?" 14 days since he stopped eating completely. But he's been disappearing since his mother died. 6 months of watching that little boy slip away, bit by bit. Nicole looked at the tray. Perfect, untouched food that would come back the same way in 15 minutes. What happened to her? His mother. Mrs. Chen's face crumpled. Aneurysm. Right there at the breakfast table. The boy was sitting across from her. 1 second Rebecca was talking about the zoo, the next, gone. Liam hasn't been the same since. Won't eat. Won't talk. Just sits in his room like he's waiting for something. "Waiting to die," Nicole said quietly. Mrs. Chen looked at her sharply. "How did you?" "Because I know what it's like." Nicole picked up the tray. "I know exactly what he's afraid of." She walked down the hallway, past family photos frozen in time, a beautiful woman with bright eyes, a little boy laughing, moments of joy that felt like another lifetime. She reached Liam's door and knocked softly. No answer. Nicole entered anyway. The room was painted pale blue, filled with toys that hadn't been touched in months. And sitting on the floor against his bed, knees pulled to his chest, was the smallest, most fragile boy Nicole had ever seen. Dark circles under his eyes. Skin stretched tight over bones. A 5-year-old who looked like he was made of paper. He didn't look up when she entered. Didn't acknowledge her at all. Nicole set the tray on the dresser and sat on the floor about 6 feet away. She didn't speak. Didn't move. Just sat there in the morning light, while Liam stared at nothing, and somewhere downstairs, his father tried to work while his only child died. This was where it began. Not with expensive specialists or medical intervention, but with a woman who understood fear sitting quietly beside a boy who'd forgotten how to live. And outside those massive windows, the city moved forward like nothing was wrong. Like a child wasn't starving himself to death in a penthouse that had everything except the one thing that could save him. Understanding. Nicole spent the morning learning the rhythms of a dying house. Mrs. Chen moved through the kitchen like a ghost, preparing meals no one would eat. Around noon, she started on lunch. Chicken soup, crackers, apple juice in a plastic cup with cartoon characters on it. Nicole dried her hands on her apron. "Can I take it up?" Mrs. Chen paused mid-stir. Mr. Bell doesn't like staff getting too involved. Not after. I know. But maybe someone knew. Nicole reached for the tray. Maybe that's what he needs. Mrs. Chen studied her for a long moment, then handed over the tray. Room at the end of the hall. Don't expect anything. Nicole carried the soup upstairs, steam rising into the silent air. The hallway was a timeline of better days, Rebecca laughing at the camera, baby Liam covered in birthday cake, family beach trips and Christmas mornings. All that joy frozen behind glass. She reached the last door and knocked softly. Nothing. She entered anyway. Liam hadn't moved since morning. Still curled against his bed, knees to chest, staring at the wall like it held answers. He was so small. Bones pressing against skin. A child turning into a shadow. Nicole set the tray on the dresser and sat on the floor, keeping her distance. 6 feet between them. She didn't speak right away. Just sat there breathing in the same air, sharing the same silence. Finally, "Hi, Liam. My name is Nicole. I'm not going to ask you to eat. I'm just going to sit here if that's okay." His eyelashes flickered. The smallest acknowledgement. "You know what I think." Nicole kept her voice soft. "I think when someone's heart hurts too much, food doesn't taste right anymore. And I think grown-ups forget that sometimes. They forget that eating feels impossible when you're that sad." Liam's breathing changed slightly. Nicole took a breath, steadying herself. "When I was 7 years old, something really scary happened. My stepfather, he hurt our dog, put something bad in his food and made me watch." Her voice trembled despite herself. "After that, I was terrified of food. Thought everything was poison. Didn't eat for a long time because I was so afraid." Liam's head turned. "Just barely. Just enough. So I understand, Liam. I understand being afraid." She stayed until the soup went cold, until Mrs. Chen came to collect the untouched tray, until the afternoon light shifted across the blue walls. Then she went back downstairs. Scott arrived home around 3, tie loosened, eyes hollow. He found Nicole in the kitchen and the question came out before he'd even set down his briefcase. Did he eat? No. His shoulders collapsed inward. Nicole made him a sandwich. Turkey, cheese, nothing fancy. Set it in front of him at the counter. "When did you last eat, Mr. Bell?" "I don't remember." He stared at the sandwich like it was speaking a language he'd forgotten. Nicole sat across from him. "Can I ask you something? What happened the morning your wife died?" His jaw clenched. "Why?" "Because I need to understand what Liam saw." The silence stretched thin. Then Scott's voice came out flat, reciting facts to keep from feeling them. It was a Sunday. Rebecca made pancakes. Liam's favorite. We were at the table. All 3 of us. She was talking about the zoo, about seeing the penguins. And then she just stopped. Mid-sentence. Her eyes went wrong. She grabbed her head. I didn't understand. I jumped up, called 911, but she collapsed before I could reach her. His hands started shaking. Liam was screaming. I was trying to do CPR, and Liam was screaming, and the pancakes were on the floor, and there was just so much chaos. He covered his face. I should have seen signs. Should have known something was wrong. Aneurysms don't have signs. I should have done something. His voice cracked open. After she died, I hired everyone. The best doctors, the best therapists. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. And my son is still dying in front of me. Nicole reached across the counter, placed her hand on his. Maybe he doesn't need doctors. Maybe he needs someone who understands what he's afraid of. Scott looked at her hand on his, then at her face. Really looked at her for the first time. What is he afraid of? I think Liam believes food killed his mother. In his mind, she was eating breakfast, then she died. So breakfast caused it. And if breakfast killed her? Nicole's voice softened. Then eating might kill him too. Scott stared at her. God, that makes horrible sense. Why didn't any of the psychiatrists figure that out? Because they were looking at his mind. Nicole squeezed his hand once, then let go. I'm looking at his fear. The next morning, Nicole found Mrs. Chen already preparing breakfast. Oatmeal with honey, sliced banana, whole milk. Nicole reached for the tray before it was even finished. Mrs. Chen caught her wrist gently. 3 maids before you got too attached. Couldn't handle watching him fade away like that. Don't break your heart over this, honey. Nicole met her eyes. Too late. She carried the tray upstairs, past the frozen family photos, past the closed doors of empty rooms. Liam was exactly where she'd left him yesterday. Same position against the bed. Same hollow stare. Like he hadn't moved in 14 days. Good morning, Liam. Nothing. Nicole set the tray down and lowered herself to the floor in her usual spot. Then she did something different. She picked up the bowl of oatmeal, scooped up a spoonful, and ate it herself. Liam's eyes flickered toward her. She took another bite. Chewed slowly. Swallowed. Maintained eye contact the entire time. See? I'm eating your food. And I'm okay. It's not poison, Liam. His whole body went rigid. Nicole set the bowl down carefully. When my stepfather hurt our dog, I thought all food was dangerous. Thought everyone was trying to poison me. It took a long time for me to understand that one bad thing doesn't mean everything is bad. The food killed Mommy. His voice was barely a whisper, but it cut through the silence like glass breaking. Nicole's heart stopped. First words in weeks. She kept her voice steady, gentle. No, sweetheart. Something inside your mommy's head got sick. It was like a tiny balloon that popped. Nobody could see it coming. Nobody could stop it. But it wasn't the food. Tears welled in Liam's eyes. She was eating. Then she was gone. I know, baby. That must have been so scary. Daddy says she's in heaven. She is. Liam's voice cracked. If I eat the food, will I go to heaven too? There it was. The terror he'd been living with for 6 months. Nicole moved closer, still giving him space. Liam, look at me. I've been eating food every single day since I was your age. And I'm still here. Food doesn't take us to heaven. Food keeps us alive. It keeps us here with the people who love us. He wiped his eyes with small, shaking hands. You eat food and you don't die. Every single day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. And I'm right here talking to you. Long silence. Then, are you scared? Of food? Sometimes I still get a little scared. But I remember that my mama, my real mama who died when I was a kid, she would want me to eat. She would want me to be healthy and strong. Nicole's voice softened. And I think your mama wants that for you too. Liam considered this, his small face serious. Then, so quietly Nicole almost missed it. "Will you stay with me?" "As long as you want me to, baby. I'm not going anywhere." That evening, Scott found Nicole cleaning up dinner. His eyes were red-rimmed, exhausted. "Mrs. Chen said Liam spoke to you." "He did." "What did he say?" Nicole recounted the conversation. The oatmeal, the questions, the slow building of trust. When she reached Liam's question, "If I eat the food, will I go to heaven too?" Scott's knees nearly buckled. He grabbed the counter, whole body convulsing with sobs. My God. He thinks eating will kill him. All this time, he's been trying to stay alive by starving himself. Nicole touched his shoulder. But now he's starting to understand. "We're breaking through, Mr. Bell." Scott turned to her, face destroyed, desperate. "What do I do? How do I help him?" "You show up. You sit with him. You let him see that you're not afraid of food, that you're not going anywhere, that he's safe." Nicole's hand stayed steady on his shoulder. "He doesn't need you to fix this. He needs you to be present for it." Day 12. Liam still wouldn't eat, but he was talking now. Small questions at first, testing whether Nicole would stay, whether she was real. "Did your stepfather go to jail?" "He did, baby. For a long time." "Do you have nightmares?" "Sometimes. But they're getting better." "Does your heart still hurt about your mama?" Nicole sat with that one. "Yeah, it does. But it's a different kind of hurt now. Softer. Like missing someone instead of drowning." These conversations built something fragile between them. Trust, maybe. Or just the beginning of it. But that afternoon, Scott's phone rang. Nicole watched his face collapse as he listened. When he hung up, his hands were shaking. "The doctors. They say his organs are showing stress. If he doesn't eat within 48 hours, they want to hospitalize him. Feeding tube." Nicole's stomach dropped. "A feeding tube will destroy him. He'll think you're forcing poison into his body." "Then what do I do?" Scott's voice cracked. "Just watch him die." Nicole took a breath, steadying herself. "I have an idea. But it's going to sound crazy." "Tell me." "I want to recreate the breakfast from the morning Rebecca died. Pancakes, the same setup. But I'll make them, and I'll eat them first. In front of Liam. He needs to see that the exact meal he associates with death can be safe." Scott stared at her like she'd suggested setting the house on fire. "You want to trigger his worst memory?" "He's already living in that memory every second of every day. But this time it ends differently. This time, someone eats the breakfast and survives." Scott ran his hands through his hair, pacing. "This is insane." "So is doing nothing." Long silence. Then Scott stopped, looked at her. "Okay. But I'm there. I'm in the room." The next morning, day 13, Nicole carried a small electric griddle upstairs along with a bowl, whisk, and ingredients. Liam watched her set up with growing alarm. She mixed the batter, poured it onto the hot surface. The smell of pancakes filled the room, that specific devastating smell. Liam began hyperventilating. "No. No, no, no." "Liam." Nicole's voice cut through his panic, calm and firm. "I need you to breathe with me. I'm right here." Scott appeared in the doorway, crossed the room in 3 strides and sat beside his son. "Hey, buddy. I'm here too. We're both here." Nicole flipped the pancakes, watching them turn golden brown. She plated 3, drizzled syrup over them. The exact presentation from that terrible Sunday morning. Liam was shaking now, tears already rolling down his hollow cheeks. Nicole sat on the floor in front of him, plate in her lap. She picked up a fork, cut into the first pancake. Made direct eye contact with Liam. "Watch me," she said. She lifted the fork to her mouth. Liam's breathing became rapid, panicked, his small chest heaving. Nicole put the bite in her mouth, chewed slowly, deliberately. Swallowed. "I'm okay." Another bite. Chew. Swallow. Still okay. She ate the entire pancake while Liam watched, transfixed, terrified. When she finished, she set the plate down and showed him her hands, steady and alive. "See, Liam? I ate the breakfast. The same breakfast your mama made. And I'm still here. The pancakes didn't hurt me. They made me feel good. They gave me energy." Liam was crying hard now, but not panicking anymore. Crying in that deep, releasing way that comes when something locked inside finally breaks open. Nicole pushed the plate toward him. "You don't have to eat them. But they're here if you want them. And I promise they're safe." Minutes passed. 5, 10. Liam stared at the pancakes like they might explode. Then his hand lifted, trembling so violently Nicole could hear his breathing shake. His fingers reached toward the plate. Scott held his breath. Didn't move. Didn't speak. Liam's fingers touched the pancake. Still warm. Soft. He tore off the tiniest piece, no bigger than a dime. Brought it to his mouth. His whole body shook. But he put it in his mouth. Chewed once. Twice. Swallowed. Then he shattered, deep, soul-destroying sobs that had been trapped inside him for 6 months. Nicole pulled him into her arms and he collapsed against her, still clutching that tiny piece of pancake. "I'm eating, Miss Nicole. I'm eating." "I know, baby. You're so brave." Scott dropped to his knees beside them, wrapping his arms around both of them. The 3 of them sat on the floor crying as Liam took another small bite. Then another. From the doorway, Mrs. Chen stood with her hand over her mouth, tears streaming down her face, watching the impossible happen. That afternoon, Liam ate lunch. Just soup and crackers, his appetite barely there, but he was eating. Scott called the doctor with tears in his voice, hand shaking as he held the phone. "He's eating. My son is eating." But that night, as Nicole tucked Liam into bed, smoothing the blankets around his too thin frame, he asked a question that stopped her heart. "Miss Nicole, why did all those doctors try to make me eat when I didn't want to?" "Because they were trying to save your life, sweetheart." "But I didn't want to be saved." His voice was so small, so matter-of-fact. Nicole's blood ran cold. "What do you mean?" "After Mommy died, Daddy cried all the time. He stopped reading to me. He stopped tucking me in. He was always on his computer or on the phone, and when he looked at me..." Liam's lip trembled. His eyes were so sad. "I thought maybe he didn't want me anymore. I thought maybe he wanted to be with Mommy instead." Scott, who'd been standing outside the door, stepped into the room. His face had gone white. Liam continued, unaware of the devastation his words were causing. "Grandma said Mommy went to heaven. So I thought if I stopped eating I could go to heaven too. Then Daddy wouldn't have to be sad looking at me anymore. And I could see Mommy again." The words landed like explosions. Scott made a strangled animal sound. Nicole's eyes filled with tears. Liam looked between them, confused. Did I do something wrong? Scott crossed the room in 3 strides and pulled Liam into his arms. His whole body shook with sobs, deep, wrenching sounds that seemed to tear him apart. No, baby. No, no, no. You didn't do anything wrong. I did. I left you alone when you needed me most. I got so lost in missing Mommy that I forgot you were missing her too. His voice broke completely. And you're so much more important than work, than anything. God, Liam, you're everything to me. Liam clung to his father's shirt with small fists. You don't want me to go to heaven? No. Never. I need you here. With me. I need you alive and healthy and happy. But you're so sad. Scott pulled back, looked his son directly in the eyes. I am sad. Because I miss Mommy. But you know what would make me sadder than anything in the world? Losing you. There is nothing worse than losing you. Liam processed this, his small face serious. Then, Miss Nicole says Mommy wants me to stay here. Scott looked at Nicole, gratitude and grief written across every line of his face. She's right. Your Mommy is in heaven, and she's watching you, and she wants you to live the most beautiful life you can. She wants you to grow up, to go to school, to play, to eat pancakes on Sunday mornings. His voice broke again. She wants you to be happy, Liam. And so do I. Liam reached up and wiped his father's tears with tiny fingers. Daddy, if I stay alive, will you stay with me? Like, really stay. Every single day. I promise. No more hiding in my office. No more working all the time. I'm here, buddy. I'm right here. That night, Scott didn't leave Liam's room. He slept in the chair beside his son's bed, holding his hand even in sleep. Around 2 a.m, Nicole brought him coffee. He looked up at her with red, exhausted eyes. He was trying to die so I wouldn't have to look at him anymore. But now he knows the truth. Because of you. Scott's voice was raw. You saw what no one else saw. Nicole shook her head. I just remembered what it felt like to be that scared and that alone. Scott stood, took her hand. His grip was desperate, grateful. Nicole, I don't know how to thank you. You gave me my son back. You gave yourself back. The moment you stepped into that room and promised to stay, that's when everything changed. They stood together in the quiet hallway, and something shifted between them. Recognition, connection, something deeper than employer and employee. Something that felt like the beginning of family. Over the next 3 weeks, everything changed. Liam ate 3 meals a day. Small portions at first, but consistent. Weight returned to his frame. Color bloomed in his cheeks. And one afternoon, while building blocks with Scott, he laughed. Actually laughed. The sound echoed through the penthouse like something miraculous, and Mrs. Chen stopped mid-chop in the kitchen, tears streaming down her face. Scott kept his promise. He restructured his entire work schedule, delegated to his executive team, took meetings remotely. Every day by 5, he was home. He read to Liam every night. Chapter books now, voices for all the characters. They built Lego sets that covered the living room floor. They watched movies curled up on the couch, Liam's head on his father's shoulder. Nicole watched them rebuild what grief had broken. She saw Liam testing constantly, making sure it was real. Daddy, will you be here when I wake up? I'll be right down the hall, buddy. Daddy, you're not going to work today, right? Just a video call. I'm not leaving the house. And Scott, patient, consistent, proving himself over and over. I'm here, Liam. I'm not going anywhere. One evening after Liam was asleep, Scott found Nicole in the kitchen. She was wiping down counters, lost in thought. Can I ask you something? Nicole looked up. Of course. How did you survive? After your stepfather, after your mother died. How did you come out the other side? Nicole leaned against the counter, considering. My grandmother. She moved in with us after my stepfather went to prison. And every single day for 2 years, she cooked meals and ate them in front of me first. Every single bite. She never pressured me. Never made me feel broken. She just showed me over and over that food was safe. That the world could be safe. That I was loved. That's what you did for Liam. I remembered what saved me. And I hoped it would save him too. Scott stepped closer. Close enough that Nicole could see the exhaustion still lingering in his eyes, but also something else. Something lighter. Nicole, you're not just the maid. You know that, right? You're part of this family now. Liam asks for you constantly. He trusts you completely. I love that little boy. I know. Scott's voice dropped. And I'm starting to realize. I love you. The words hung in the air between them. Nicole's breath caught. Scott continued, vulnerable in a way she'd never seen. These past few weeks, watching you with Liam, talking with you late at night when the house is quiet, I've realized you're the first person who's made me feel less alone since Rebecca died. You don't just understand Liam. You understand me. And I don't want you to leave when he's fully healed. I want you to stay. Not as an employee. As family. Nicole's eyes filled. Scott, I love you too. But I don't want you to confuse gratitude with. It's not gratitude. I mean, yes, I'm grateful. But this is more. You're brilliant and kind and brave, and you saved my son's life, but more than that, you remind me how to be present. How to feel. How to live again. They kissed. Gentle, tentative, filled with months of shared trauma and slow healing. Like two people finding solid ground after drowning. The next morning, Liam wandered into the kitchen and found them making breakfast together. Scott's hand resting on Nicole's waist. He stopped in the doorway, studying them with a child's perfect clarity. Are you two in love? They laughed, caught. Scott knelt to Liam's level. Yeah, buddy. I think we are. Is that okay with you? Liam grinned. The first real grin Nicole had ever seen from him. Only if Miss Nicole stays forever. Nicole knelt too, taking his small hands. I'm not going anywhere, Liam. Not unless you want me to. I don't want you to. Ever. She pulled him into a hug, and Scott wrapped his arms around both of them. A family, rebuilt from fragments. As weeks turned to months, they established new rhythms. Sunday mornings became sacred. Pancakes together. Liam stood on a step stool, carefully pouring batter while Scott manned the griddle and Nicole mixed more in a bowl. They talked about Rebecca freely now, keeping her memory alive through stories and laughter instead of silence and grief. One Sunday, Liam asked, Daddy, do you think Mommy would like Miss Nicole? Scott looked at Nicole across the kitchen, then at his son. I think Mommy would love her. Because she loves you so much. Liam considered this, his small face serious. I think Mommy and Miss Nicole's mama are friends in heaven. Nicole's throat closed. She set down the whisk. I think you're right, sweetheart. Then they're not lonely. Liam smiled, perfectly content with his child logic. They can have pancakes together too. They carried the plates to the table. Liam drowned his pancakes in syrup, an entire river of it, a sight that would have been impossible 4 months ago. Scott watched his son eat with wonder still fresh, still unable to fully believe it was real. After breakfast, they walked to the park. Liam ran ahead to the playground, his laughter echoing off the buildings. Scott and Nicole sat on a bench, watching him climb and swing like any other 6-year-old. "He's a completely different child," Scott said. "He's the same child, just not drowning anymore." Scott took Nicole's hand, lacing their fingers together. "Neither am I. You pulled us both up for air." That night, after Liam was asleep, tucked in with stories and kisses and promises of tomorrow, Scott poured 2 glasses of wine. They sat on the balcony overlooking Chicago. The city glittered below them, 1,000 lights against the dark lake. "I've been thinking," Scott said. "I want to ask you something. But I don't want to rush you." "Ask me." "Move in with us. Officially. Not as staff. As..." He struggled for the words. "As my partner. As Liam's. I don't know what the title would be. But as family." Nicole's heart raced. "Scott, I already live here. In the staff quarters. I want you in the master suite. I want mornings together. I want to wake up next to you." His voice softened. "I want Liam to see what a healthy, loving relationship looks like. What it means when 2 people choose each other, show up for each other." Nicole's eyes filled with tears. "I want that too." "Yeah. Yeah." They kissed as the city lights shimmered around them, as the lake whispered against the shore below, as somewhere inside a little boy slept peacefully for the first time in months. A family rebuilding itself, one Sunday morning at a time. When they came back inside, Nicole paused at Liam's door, watched him sleep, his chest rising and falling steadily. Healthy, safe, loved. Scott stood beside her, his arm around her waist. "Thank you," he whispered. "For what?" "For seeing us when we couldn't see ourselves." Nicole leaned into him. "You would have found your way back to each other. Maybe. But you made sure we did." He kissed the top of her head. "Come on. Let's go to bed." They walked down the hall together. Not employer and employee, not billionaire and maid, but 2 people who'd found each other in the wreckage and decided to build something new. Something real. The master suite door closed softly behind them. And in his room, Liam slept surrounded by family photos. His mother watching from heaven, his father down the hall, and Nicole, who'd taught him that food meant safety, that trust could be rebuilt, that choosing to live was the bravest thing he'd ever do. 6 months after Nicole arrived, Liam turned 6. They threw a small birthday party, a few kids from his new preschool, superhero decorations, a cake shaped like a rocket ship. Liam ran around with his friends, laughing, shrieking, completely healthy and vibrant. Scott stood in the kitchen doorway watching, and he could barely comprehend it. 6 months ago, his son had been days from death. Skeletal. Silent. Fading. Now he was just a kid at his birthday party, covered in frosting, alive. That evening, after the last guest left and Liam was tucked into bed exhausted and happy, Scott pulled a small velvet box from his desk drawer. He found Nicole in the living room, cleaning up wrapping paper and deflated balloons. "Nicole." She turned, arms full of torn gift wrap. He dropped to one knee. Her hands flew to her mouth, wrapping paper falling to the floor. "Nicole Martinez, 6 months ago you walked into this house and saved my son's life. But you did more than that. You saved mine. You taught me how to be present, how to be vulnerable, how to love again." His voice shook. "You're already Liam's family. I want to make it official. Will you marry me?" Nicole dropped to her knees in front of him, tears streaming down her face. "Yes. God, yes." He slid the ring onto her finger. Simple, elegant, perfect. They kissed surrounded by birthday decorations and crumpled wrapping paper, building a future from fragments of grief. The next morning, they told Liam together. He was eating pancakes, his Sunday ritual now extended to Mondays apparently. And when Scott said, "Buddy, Miss Nicole and I are getting married," Liam's reaction was pure, unfiltered joy. He jumped on his chair, then the table, then started bouncing on the couch screaming, "Miss Nicole's staying forever. She's staying forever." Mrs. Chen cried into her apron. 3 months later, they had a small wedding in the penthouse. Windows overlooking the lake, white flowers everywhere, intimate and perfect. Liam was ring bearer, carrying the rings down the makeshift aisle with fierce pride and a grin so wide it looked like his face might split. The ceremony was simple. Just close friends, Mrs. Chen crying in the front row, autumn light pouring through the windows. When it came time for vows, Scott did something unexpected. He knelt to Liam's level, took his small hands. "Liam, I promise to always show up, to read you stories, make you pancakes, and never let work replace you. You're my priority. Always." Nicole knelt too, taking Liam's other hand. "Liam, I promise to always make you feel safe, to eat every meal with you, to keep your mommy's memory alive, to love you like you're my own." Liam, standing between them in his tiny suit, looked very serious. Then he said solemnly, "I promise to eat my vegetables. Most of the time." The room erupted. Laughter through tears, joy through grief. Even the officiant was crying. They sealed it with a 3-way hug. The new family officially formed. Scott kissed Nicole while Liam made exaggerated, grossed-out faces, and everyone laughed again. Later, during the reception, Liam asked if he could make a speech. Scott handed him the microphone, and Liam's small voice filled the room. "I'm really happy Miss Nicole is my new mommy, because she taught me that food is safe, and that it's okay to be scared but you can be brave anyway, and that people who love you don't leave." He paused, thinking. "Also, she makes really good grilled cheese." More laughter. More tears. Scott pulled both Nicole and Liam close, and for the first time since Rebecca died, he felt complete. Not the same as before, that family was gone. But this new family, built from understanding and presence and choosing each other every single day, was real, was whole, was enough. 8 months after Nicole first walked through that elevator, the penthouse was transformed. Photos of Rebecca still lined the walls, her memory honored, not erased. But new photos appeared too. Nicole and Liam baking cookies, Scott and Liam at the zoo. The 3 of them on a beach trip where Liam ate ice cream and got sunburned and laughed until he couldn't breathe. One evening, Liam brought Nicole a drawing from school. 4 figures holding hands. A tall man, a woman with dark skin and kind eyes, a small boy. And above them in the clouds, a beautiful woman with a halo. "That's our family," Liam explained. "Daddy, you, me, and Mommy watching from heaven." Nicole's eyes filled. "Liam, this is beautiful. My teacher asked if I was sad that my mommy died. I said yes, but I'm also happy because I have 2 mommies now. One in heaven and one here." Scott, overhearing from the kitchen, stopped stirring the pasta. His throat closed. Liam continued, matter of fact. And my heaven mommy sent you to save me when I was really sick. So really you're both taking care of me. Nicole pulled him into her arms. Your mommy loved you so much, Liam. And wherever she is, she's so proud of you. That night, the three of them sat on the couch after dinner. Liam nestled between Scott and Nicole, half asleep, full and content. He asked for the story, the one he never tired of hearing. Scott told it. Once upon a time, there was a little boy who got so sad he forgot how to eat. His daddy tried everything but nothing worked. Then one day, an angel named Nicole arrived. Liam interrupted, smiling. She wasn't an angel. She was a maid. She was both, Scott said. And she did something impossible. She showed you that food was safe. That the world was safe. That you were loved. Nicole added, and you did something impossible too, Liam. You were so brave. You chose to live even when you were terrified. Liam yawned. I'm glad I did. Because now we have Sunday pancakes. And movie nights. And you read to me every night, Daddy. Every single night, Scott promised. Liam's eyes drifted closed. In that space between awake and asleep, he murmured, I love you, Daddy. I love you, Mommy Nicole. Nicole's breath caught. It was the first time he'd called her that. She looked at Scott over Liam's head, tears streaming. Scott mouthed, It's perfect. They sat in the quiet living room, their son sleeping peacefully between them, and felt complete peace. The penthouse that was once a tomb was now a home. The boy who refused to eat now asked for seconds. The father who hid from grief learned to face it. The woman who felt inadequate discovered her greatest strength. Later, after they'd tucked Liam into bed, Scott and Nicole stood at his doorway watching him sleep. Do you ever think about what would have happened if you hadn't come? Scott whispered. Nicole took his hand. No, because I did come. God brought me here exactly when you needed me. When we needed each other. They closed Liam's door softly and walked to their own room. As they got ready for bed, Scott caught Nicole's reflection in the mirror. Thank you, he said. For what? For seeing what no one else saw. For being brave enough to trust your instincts. For saving us. Nicole turned to face him. You saved yourselves. I just showed you it was possible. They climbed into bed, and through the wall, they could hear Liam's soft breathing. Safe. Healthy. Alive. The story ended where it began. A billionaire son who hadn't eaten in 14 days. But now he ate 3 meals daily, plus snacks. Now he laughed and played and grew. Now he had a father who showed up and a second mother who understood him. They didn't erase grief. They transformed it. They didn't forget Rebecca. They honored her by choosing life. And on Sunday mornings when they made pancakes together, Scott flipping, Nicole mixing, Liam pouring rivers of syrup, they felt her presence. Watching. Smiling. Proud of the family they'd become. A family built not from perfection, but from presence. Not from money but from love. Not from expertise but from empathy. A family that almost broke, then chose to heal. And in the healing found each other. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely enjoy the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.